He was charming, handsome, thoughtful, the kind of guy who brought flowers to first dates. 36-year-old Mark Calloway had just finalized his divorce when he met Alyssa on a dating app called Flame. She was witty, confident, and, incredibly private. Their chats were long, personal, deep. She never shared her last name, but Mark didn't care. He was intrigued. On May 14, 2021, they finally agreed to meet. Alyssa invited Mark to her apartment. He hesitated, then agreed. Mark texted his best friend Josh at 6:04 p.m. heading to Alyssa's. She seems cool. If I die, it was worth it. A joke, a harmless joke. But that would be the last time anyone heard from Mark Calloway. According to apartment complex security footage, he entered Unit 6B at 6:42 p.m. He never came out. At 9:13 p.m., neighbors reported hearing shouting. One described it as a man's voice, begging. Another claimed they heard something fall, like furniture getting knocked over. By morning, the door to Unit 6B was open, but no one was inside. No Alyssa, no Mark. When police arrived, they found no signs of forced entry. The furniture was spotless. The air smelled like fresh lavender. But behind the couch, a single drop of blood. Inside the fridge, a bottle of wine, 2 glasses, one half drunk, one full. Fingerprints were wiped clean, except for one, Mark's, on the inside of the front doorknob. Detective Carla Monroe, lead on the case, stated in her preliminary report, there was a sense that everything had been staged like a set, too clean, too perfect. The lease on the apartment, fake. No record of Alyssa, no forwarding address, security deposits paid in cash, the landlord, never met her in person, only spoke via email. Then came the first break. A neighbor recalled Alyssa's voice, but said she sounded different sometimes. She could go from flirty to cold in a second, the witness told police. I thought she was acting, or maybe pretending. That's when detectives pulled footage from the week prior. 4 different men, all entering Unit 6B. None ever seen leaving on camera, none reported missing, except for Mark. When police dug deeper, they found something chilling. In the unit's storage closet, hidden behind paint cans, a journal. Leather-bound, black, inside Polaroids, each of a man, all different, all alone, most smiling, some terrified. The last one, Mark, still wearing his date-night blazer. The final page of the journal read, he asked if I was real. I told him I become whoever they want me to be. Forensic analysis of the handwriting led nowhere. No fingerprints, no DNA. The journal had been handled with gloves. To this day, Mark Calloway's body has never been found. The apartment was re-leased. The new tenants reported strange knocks on the door at 6:42 p.m. every Friday, but no one's ever there. Police now believe Alyssa was an alias, but for who? A lone predator? A team? Or something more elaborate? No trace of her has ever resurfaced. The dating app records were deleted. Her number, prepaid, untraceable, digital footprints, vanished. Detective Monroe closed the case as cold, pending further evidence. But in her personal notes, obtained through a FOIA request, she wrote, I think we were dealing with a collector, but of what, or who, I'm still not sure. The case of Mark Calloway remains unsolved. No suspects, no leads, just a locked door, a vanished woman, and one man who thought he was going on a date. He never came back. Voiceover, Gap 3S. Police canvassed the building, interviewing neighbors. One elderly woman, Mrs. Patel, claimed she saw a shadowy figure leaving the stairwell at midnight. It wasn't Mark, she insisted. Too tall, and they moved like they were in a hurry. Another neighbor, a night shift nurse, reported hearing a woman's voice whispering, "It's done," through the thin apartment walls. But when police checked, the unit was empty. Voiceover, Gap 3S. Detective Monroe reviewed the security tapes again. Transcript excerpt, officer. No sign of forced entry, but look, at 2:13 a.m., the hallway camera glitches, for 3 seconds static, then nothing. Monroe, check the backup feeds. Officer, already did. Same glitch, someone knew what they were doing. Voiceover, Gap 3S. In the days after Mark's disappearance, a maintenance worker found a small, blood-stained earring in the building's laundry room. It matched none of Alyssa's photos. DNA analysis? Inconclusive. The case file grew thicker, but answers remained elusive. The only certainty, someone was watching, and they wanted to be seen. Voiceover. Gap 3S. Months later, Detective Monroe received an anonymous envelope. Inside, a Polaroid of Mark, alive, eyes wide with terror, holding a newspaper dated 2 weeks prior. Scrawled on the back, "You looked in the wrong place." The case was reopened, but the trail was colder than ever. Voiceover. Gap 3S. The file remains open, no suspects, no closure. Every year on May 14th, a single red rose appears outside Unit 6B, no fingerprints, no witnesses. Just a lingering question. Did Mark ever really leave, or is the real story still waiting to be uncovered? Voiceover. A breakthrough, months after the case had gone cold. A neighbor, who had remained silent until now, steps forward with a story that shakes the timeline to its core. Their voice, shaky but determined, paints a new picture. On the night Mark vanished, they saw a shadowy figure lurking near Unit 6B. The figure moved deliberately, pausing at the doorway, glancing over their shoulder as if expecting to be watched. This sighting directly contradicts earlier reports that the hallway was empty after midnight. The neighbor's memory is vivid, too vivid to ignore. They recall the sound of hurried footsteps, the low murmur of a conversation, and the click of a door that was supposed to be locked. With this new testimony, the puzzle deepens. Who was the mysterious visitor? Why did earlier witnesses stay silent, or what did they miss? The timeline, once thought certain, is now upended. And with it, the hope for closure is both rekindled and thrown into doubt. Voiceover. A newly surfaced transcript lands on the detective's desk. The caller's voice, digitally distorted, offers chilling precision. Audio effect muffled, distorted voice. "There's a passage behind the boiler room. You won't find it unless you know where to look. Mark met someone there the night he disappeared. Don't trust the cameras. They're not the only eyes in that building. If you follow the clues, you'll see. But be careful. There's more to this than you realize." The transcript details a hidden passageway in the building, a place never mentioned before. The caller claims Mark was lured there for a secret meeting. They warn of a larger conspiracy, suggesting that someone close to the investigation might be involved. Detectives pore over the words, the tension mounting. Is this a genuine lead or a cruel diversion? The cryptic warning leaves more questions than answers, but one thing is certain: the mystery is far from over. Voiceover. As detectives search the apartment again, their attention is drawn to an out-of-place vent cover tucked behind a stack of boxes. Inside, they uncover a small, hidden camera, its red light long since extinguished. When they review the footage, the grainy black-and-white images reveal a parade of shadowy figures entering the apartment in the dead of night. Most faces are obscured, but one visitor stands out. They pause in the center of the living room, glancing toward the camera as if they know it's there. With gloved hands, the figure places a small, unidentifiable object beneath the couch before slipping away. The evidence is both chilling and frustratingly vague. Who are these visitors? What did they leave behind? And why did no one notice until now? The unsettling footage raises more questions than it answers, deepening the sense of unease as the investigation continues. Voiceover. Who was the missing person beyond the headlines and case files? Through excerpts from private diary entries, we glimpse their inner world, hopes for a fresh start in the city, fears of being watched, and secrets they never dared to share aloud. Friends recall moments of laughter, but also late-night calls filled with anxiety and cryptic confessions. Flashbacks reveal tense arguments with neighbors, mysterious phone calls, and a growing sense of paranoia as relationships fray. These revelations paint a complex portrait. Was the missing person an innocent victim, or did their secrets entangle them in something far more dangerous? As the layers peel back, the line between victim and suspect becomes increasingly blurred, leaving us to wonder, how well do we really know anyone? Voiceover. A sudden twist emerges. In a dimly lit interview room, a close friend of the missing person finally breaks their silence. Their voice trembles with guilt and fear as they admit to withholding crucial information from investigators. They recount a secret meeting that took place on the very night of the disappearance, details they had never revealed until now. The air is heavy as they describe the urgent whispered conversation, the promise to keep things hidden, and the overwhelming sense that something was terribly wrong. This confession sends shockwaves through the investigation, unraveling previous assumptions and shifting suspicion in an unexpected direction. As detectives scramble to verify the new account, the case takes a dramatic and irreversible turn. leaving everyone to question what other secrets might still be buried in the shadows. Voiceover. After weeks of uncertainty, detectives finally connect the final pieces of the puzzle. In a tense, late-night confrontation, the true culprit is unmasked. Under the weight of irrefutable evidence and relentless questioning, they break down, confessing to their role in the disappearance. The motives, rooted in jealousy, fear, and desperation, are laid bare for all to see. As the truth comes to light, the community reels from the shock. Neighbors gather in hushed groups, processing the revelation and the loss that has haunted them for so long. The missing person's fate is at last uncovered, answers replacing the questions that once echoed through empty hallways and sleepless nights. Though nothing can erase the pain, closure settles over the town. The story comes to a close, but its impact lingers, reminding everyone of the fragile line between ordinary life and unthinkable tragedy. Voiceover. In the days following the confession, the missing person's family is left to pick up the shattered pieces of their lives. The camera lingers on flickering candles and faded photographs, silent witnesses to the love and laughter that once filled their home. Grief hangs heavy in every room, but so does a stubborn thread of hope, an unwillingness to let go completely, even as the world urges them to move on. Tense conversations echo late into the night as family members sift through old messages and memories, searching for anything they might have missed. Each discovery, no matter how small, brings a fresh wave of emotion: regret, anger, longing. The smallest details are debated, the what-ifs and if-onlys never far from anyone's lips. But even as the official story is written, the family is haunted by unanswered questions. Was there more to the motive? Did someone else help? Are their secrets still buried just beyond their reach? Their determination to uncover the full truth becomes their lifeline, a purpose that keeps them moving forward even as the world's attention fades. The camera pulls back, revealing the family gathered together, united in their grief and their resolve. The pain is raw, but so is their strength. For them, the story is far from over. And as long as questions remain, their vigil will continue, keeping the memory of their loved one alive and keeping the audience on edge, wondering if the real story has yet to be told. As the family clings to hope and searches for answers, the spotlight shifts to a key suspect whose life is shrouded in shadows. We delve into the past of Mark Turner, a name that has surfaced repeatedly in the investigation, but whose true story remains largely untold. Mark's early years were marked by hardship and struggle. Raised in a broken home, he witnessed more than his fair share of conflict and instability. The camera pans over old photographs of a young boy with a tough exterior, masking the vulnerability within. Friends and former acquaintances describe him as a loner, someone who kept to himself but harbored a deep-seated anger just beneath the surface. The narrative takes a chilling turn as we explore Mark's teenage years, where he fell in with a crowd that thrived on chaos and rebellion. His encounters with the law began as minor infractions but escalated into more serious offenses. By the time he reached adulthood, Mark had developed a reputation for being unpredictable and dangerous. Interviews with those who knew him paint a complex picture. Some recall moments of kindness and regret, hinting at a man tormented by his own demons. But others speak of a darker side, an individual capable of manipulation and deceit. The camera lingers on Mark's piercing eyes in a mugshot, raising the question, what drove him to this point? As we piece together his story, unsettling details emerge. Financial troubles, broken relationships, and a pattern of erratic behavior suggest a man on the edge. But most haunting of all are the hints of a deeper connection to the missing person, a connection that raises doubts and suspicions. Could Mark's actions have been driven by desperation, jealousy, or something even more sinister? The camera shifts to a dimly lit room where Mark sits alone, his face obscured by shadows. The suspense builds as we ponder his true motives and the personal struggles that may have pushed him over the edge. The scene closes with a lingering shot of Mark's last known location, a place filled with unanswered questions and hidden secrets. The emotional stakes are higher than ever, as the audience is left to wonder. Is Mark Turner the key to solving this chilling mystery, or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Just when the investigation seemed to be running cold, a shocking new development ignites a fresh wave of hope and fear. Early one morning, detectives receive an anonymous package delivered to the precinct. Inside, wrapped in a plain brown envelope, is a flash drive. No note, no fingerprints, only a single word scrawled on the label: truth. The video footage on the drive is grainy but unmistakable. It shows a dimly lit hallway, Unit 6B's floor, captured from an angle no one knew was being recorded. The timestamp places it on the night of the disappearance. In the footage, Mark Turner is seen hesitating outside the missing person's door, nervously glancing over his shoulder. But then, another figure emerges from the stairwell, a person investigators had never connected to the case. As the detectives watch in stunned silence, the unknown figure and Mark exchange tense words, their body language radiating hostility. The confrontation escalates and Mark storms away, leaving the other person behind. Moments later, the missing person's door opens, and the mysterious figure slips inside. News of the footage spreads quickly. Family members are shaken, their hope renewed but anxiety mounting as they grapple with the idea that the case is far from over. The community buzzes with speculation. The investigation, once focused solely on Mark Turner, must now pivot. Suspicion shifts, alliances fracture, and secrets long buried threaten to erupt into the open. The scene closes on detectives pinning the new image of the mysterious figure to their evidence board, the cold case burning with new life. The truth, it seems, is far more complex and far more dangerous than anyone had dared imagine. Months have passed since the evidence that changed everything. The case, once the subject of hushed whispers and late-night speculation, now lingers in the air like a persistent shadow. The once bustling halls of the apartment building are quieter. Neighbors pass each other with somber nods, trust forever altered. For the family of the missing, grief and hope intermingle. Candlelight vigils continue, each flame a silent wish for resolution. Some nights laughter returns, soft, fragile, a testament to resilience, but it's always followed by the ache of absence. Mark Turner, no longer the sole suspect, walks the streets a changed man. Some cross to the other side, unwilling to meet his eyes. Others offer quiet support, recognizing the scars left by suspicion. The mysterious figure from the footage remains unidentified, a haunting reminder that answers are sometimes just out of reach. Detectives, too, are changed, haunted by what they missed, driven by what remains unsolved. New cases pile up, but this one lingers in their minds, a lesson in humility and the limits of certainty. Yet, amidst the heartbreak, the community finds unexpected unity. Neighbors check in on each other more often. Strangers become friends at vigils. There is a shared understanding. Tragedy leaves scars, but it also forges unlikely bonds. As night falls and lights flicker on in Unit 6B, the mystery endures. The missing are not forgotten. Their story, woven into the fabric of the community, is a reminder that some questions remain unanswered, but hope, however fragile, persists. The case may be cold, but its echoes will be felt for years to come. As the years pass, the memory of that fateful night lingers in the hearts of all who knew them. The community, once fractured by fear and uncertainty, finds strength in unity and remembrance. Candlelight vigils become annual traditions, stories are shared, and hope is kindled in the faces of those who refuse to forget. Though the mystery may never be fully solved, the love and resilience of a community shine brighter than any shadow. In the end, it is not the unanswered questions that define them, but the courage to move forward together.